She's a lady, oh, such a lady. She's a lady, sophisticated lady. She's a lady, oh, such a lady. She's a lady, sophisticated lady. Ooh, she's so divine. The charm of the girl, the strength of the world, like a diamond in the rough. She's sweet, but she's tough. She's neat, she's mild. Do a business with a smile. A woman too, ooh, and you see when she gets down, you're wrong, she'll be shy. Such style and such grace, she takes guys to the place. When she walks through the room, you have to assume that she's a lady. Oh, such a lady, such a lady. She's a lady, oh yeah, sophisticated lady. She's a lady, she's a lady. Well, such a lady, such a lady. She's a lady, sophisticated lady. To the world of the world, you cannot believe it's more than good looks. Where you be good, it takes more than just teasing, confusion, and it's like a religion, it's practice and vision. There's no substitute. Got to be real, there's a way you can go. Follow all the rules. Walking tall with my back straight ahead, running high. They say she's a lady, oh, such a lady, such a lady. She's a lady, oh yeah, sophisticated lady. She's a lady, she's a lady, she's a lady, such a lady, such a lady. She's a lady, sophisticated lady. She's a lady, such a lady, oh yeah, she's a lady, she's a lady. Such a lady. She's a lady. Oh, such a lady. Such a lady. She's a lady. Oh, yeah. Sophisticated lady. Oh, she's a lady. Such a lady. She's a lady. She's a lady. Sophisticated lady. She's a lady. She's a lady. Such a lady. Sophisticated lady. She's a lady. Such a sophisticated lady. She's a lady. Sophisticated lady. She's a lady. Such a sophisticated lady. She's a lady. Sophisticated lady. She's a lady. Such a lady. She's a lady. Sophisticated lady. She's a lady.
Okay. All right, we're in the house. We're in the house. Memorial Day. Special edition. Reality's Temple on Earth. Let me set this up real quick. Glad to see you. What's up there, Marcus? Hey, what is up? Let me set this up so I can see everything. What's up, Facebook? We are simulcasting on Facebook as well as YouTube. Haven't been on Facebook Live in a while, but we here today. Let me make sure that my Facebook is all right. Okay, Facebook seems to be operating properly. Now let us set up my YouTube thing so I can see the comments. We are in business. Don't want to stay here long. Want to try to make this topic as simple as possible. How we doing? Memorial Day. This is a day that's supposed to be dedicated to the fallen soldiers. I didn't know that actually Memorial Day started with soul brothers and sisters. Right after the Civil War, or there was some battle, a lot of brothers died in the Civil War, and they buried their bodies in mass graves. And brothers and sisters dug those bodies up and gave them a proper burial. That was the beginning of Memorial Day. Learn something new all the time. I want to thank my Facebook people for giving me that little tidbit. Memorial Day is for our fallen soldiers. Every one of us, present or in the past, that fall in attempting to change this condition of the so-called Negro or African Americans, whatever you want to call us, from Harriet Tubman, of course, my brother Malcolm X, even Elijah Muhammad, Marcus Garvey, goes on and on. Hey, what's up there, Minister Logic? All our people, they can be included in Memorial Day. They were revolutionaries, they were fighters. Our sister Fannie Lou Hamer, Huey P. Newton, it's just so many. Those unknown. Remember, a lot of our people couldn't do a whole lot by themselves. They had to have help. So there are a lot of brothers and sisters, some of them who are still alive today. They did their best with what they had and what they knew to fight to make our walk in this on this road of racism easier until we can destroy that road. So Memorial Day for me is an acknowledgement of our ancestors, of which I acknowledge every day. In the name of our ancestors, in the name of all those who are especially warriors that made some attempt to make the walk that I'm walking right now much easier. To those who are no longer with us and to those who are alive right now, I give all of us, all our elders, everybody, their credit, their props, their honor. I'm not really one who seeks to speak negative of anybody. I'm not really one who, as some may claim, you always trying to down somebody. You're downing your own people. No, I did not make you down. I did not put you down. How can I put down something that has already and never been up? You always been down. That's the problem, us being down. The problem is you don't know how to really get up. You rise up a little bit, then you go right back down. You rise up a little bit, you don't know how to walk like a baby that's learning how to walk. You raise up, you don't crawl, you get up a little bit, then you fall right back down. You're still crawling, you don't know how to walk. Because if you walked like men and you talk like women and you move like an adult, we wouldn't be in this situation. But we still are in a childlike state. And you refuse to grow up. You refuse to stay a child. Even in your religion, you call yourself a child of God. You don't never grow up. You are a Peter Pan type of a people Can you say that 3 times fast? A Peter Pan type of people. Peter Pan type of a people. We are a Peter Pan type of a people who don't want to grow up. So we get lost in our fantasy that we make up for ourselves. We cannot wait till the Black Panther #2 come out to feed that fantasy world that we already live in. Like children, our make-believe friends like children. Here's a child telling you about their friend and you looking, you don't see nothing. And you laugh. Then you become an adult and you do the same thing. Here's my God, and people look, they don't see nothing. It's childish. The same stuff. When do you want to grow up and take responsibility for yourself? It's only so long that you can continue to blame the white man. And the white man do this, and the white people, and they plan against us. And if you know that the white man is doing all this stuff, how come you can't do nothing about it? The only thing you can do is sit back and complain. Sit back and, oh, white people, they got a plan. It's a race war coming. They're going to do this to genocide and all this. If you know all that, there's no physical chains on your wrist. You're not locked down to a bed. What's stopping you from solving your dilemma, solving your problem? You. That's the problem. Because you want an easy way out. You want some God to come out the sky and save you. You want Superman and the Green Lantern, the Justice League of America, to come and do something for you. You don't even know who you are. That's what we want to talk about right now. Who the hell are you? Black people, Africans, Aboriginal, Moors, Hebrews, Israelites, whatever. The list goes on and on. Who the hell are we? You and I live in an identity crisis. Who am I? I'm Angel Snup 7, the mighty one, here on social media. And welcome to another edition of what I call the Reality's Temple on Earth Internet Ministry. And I am also your soul brother, number 1. I don't want to keep you long. I just want to make a quick point. And we want to be out of here. It's Memorial Day. I know some of y'all got some weed to smoke. You got some sex to get. You got some barbecue. You got all this different thing. What you said, D? We are none of these, yet all of these. You know something? Yeah, I can concur. And I'm gonna show you in very simple terms. I want to show us. We are a little bit of everything. It's a little bit of truth to all of it. We want to see what we can do with this identity crisis. In order to move forward, you have to have an identity. And we really don't even have an identity. We are living in an identity crisis. This group said, I'm this. This group said, I'm that. But see, it really don't make no difference what you say you are, because the United States of America determine who you are. When you get ready to get a passport, or you file for whatever, they're gonna ask you, are you an African American? Are you Black? They're not gonna ask you, are you a Hebrew? Are you Kemetic? Are you a Moor? They're not gonna ask all that. So it don't make no difference what you call yourself. The powers that be tell you who you are. Just like your parents told you who you was. Your parents named you. You did not name yourself until you get older and you change your name, and then you gain your own power. But until then, somebody else named you. Somebody else. Remember, in this country, somebody else is the power. They name you. They see you. If they want to see you as Kemetics, then we will be that. If they want to see us as Hebrews, whatever they decide to do, because you don't have any power to do nothing, even identify yourself. Jesse Jackson came up with the label African American. And it sounded good to Massa. So Massa said, yeah, call them African American. Who cares? Give them a baby bottle so they can shut the hell up. You know, give the niggas a little something. Make them feel like they have a say-so in America. As an African, I come from Africa, and as American, so as a African American. All right, Jesse. And Massa said, okay, I will approve that. And we've been African American ever since. Prior to African American, we was black, we was Negro, we was colored, and the ever popular nigger. And some of y'all really, really love nigger. Y'all like to be called nigger. What's up, my nigger, nigger, nigger? You love that. In fact, we call ourselves nigger so much, we call ourselves nigger with pride more than Kemetic, more than Hebrew, or more, or black, or color. What's up, my nigga? So we suffer from an identity crisis. So the question I'm raising to kick this redundant topic off, and we talk about this over and over again because we're not really taking any real action against our problem. So we have time to sit around talking about you's an African. No, you Aboriginal. No, you's a Moor. We got time, have time to talk all that stuff because we're not really doing nothing against the oppression that's come against us. Because believe me, slaves and those who suffered under Jim Crow, the Black Codes, those who were bombed in Tulsa, Oklahoma, believe me, they did not sit around a table talking about, am I a Hebrew Israelite? Am I a Moor? Am I a Muslim? Am I black? Is I colored? They were too busy dealing with the problem. And the problem see all of us as the same. They don't care whether you're Kemetic, you're Christian or Muslim, agnostic, atheist. They don't give a damn. They would blow your brains out. And we still have not gotten the memo. What's up there, Andre? What's happening? We got a topic here. We want to deal with it real quick and get out of here. There are those who come to me and they say, you wearing the pen of Malcolm X. You should be ashamed of yourself. Malcolm X made it very clear. We are African people. You don't believe in no Malcolm. It's not about belief in Malcolm. I respect Malcolm. I don't follow Malcolm. I honor Malcolm. I respect him for the man that he was. I don't follow Malcolm. I don't come on here telling you that everything Malcolm said and done was 1,000% because of much of what Malcolm said and done was based on religion. And that's a fact, like King Noble said. Malcolm was 39 years old when he was gunned down. Malcolm had a lot of other growing to do. We don't know what Malcolm would have done. We don't know how Malcolm would have thought had he lived to be 50, 60, 70, 80, even 90 years old. We don't know if Malcolm would have continued to embrace the conclusion that he's some African when he was presented with other information. And just like Louis Farrakhan said all the time in his speeches, you are relegated to what you know. You cannot think outside of what you know and what you can understand. So Malcolm only spoke about what he knew and what he understood at the time, being 39 years old. You don't know what Malcolm might be thinking about in 2019. So we're going to bring all this up to date because what we want to do is dot the I's, cross the T's. We want to cover all our bases. All the bases wasn't covered when Brother Malcolm was alive, when he was here among us. we're going to cover all our bases. And what I'm going to present to us, y'all say all the time, except you just skip certain things. You just ignore certain things. No, you need to deal with it all. But that's what they do in religion, in some of these ideas and beliefs. They just skip certain things. They just skip certain things, and we're not going to do that. We want to try to come and bring reality as close as possible and just accept things as they are. Sometimes truth makes us feel good. Sometimes truth makes us feel bad. You have to take the bad with the good. And for me, all truth is good. When truth becomes bad, it's because it interferes with something, a truth that we become loyal to, that we thought was the truth, but it is not as true as we thought that it was. So let's deal with this subject. And let me get out of here. I don't want to hold you long. Maybe another 45 minutes, 30 minutes. I want to try to make this quick. It's really a redundant subject. I've already spoken about it before. I want to see if I can just try to make it more and more simple. Because some of us, we really think, you know, some of us like to play the dumb role. What you mean by that? I don't understand. Here you have a people, they talk about all their research, all their information. They have tons and tons of books behind them. They know all this, but they don't understand simple things. Because those simple things, and that's key too. You have people who do understand the most complex things, but they don't understand the basics. They don't understand the simple. It throws them for a loop. There are people like that. They know everything. They know geometry, trigonometry, algebra, all the high mathematics, and get stuck on simple adding and subtracting. Mind-boggling. Maybe that's some of these people's problem. So let's begin like this. See, I'm just confused myself because I want to ask the question, is black? Well, I know that black is a color. A lot of folks say that's a color, that's not a people. What we want to understand is black a people or is it a race? Because they call us black people. When you think about black people, you think about those of us dark-skinned people with African or Aboriginal ancestry. You think about us here in the United States when we talk about black people. But at the same time, you have those that said the black man is God. Okay? Okay, the black man is God. And when they said the black man is God, we're talking about a black race. So when you're talking about the black man is God, we in America, we didn't even exist at all. And then when you talk about the black race, you're talking about all the dark-skinned people on the planet, basically. So if black really is all the dark-skinned people on the planet, then what are we? That means we're not black because black is a race. So what are we then, if that's the case? It's really confusing, y'all. It's really confusing. Maybe you can chime in and help us put this in some type of order, straighten this all out. We call ourselves Israelites. An Israelite is not a people. An Israelite is a country. There are all kinds of different people in a country, in a nation. So what do you mean when you say that you are Israelite? What people, what tribe do you belong to? When you say that you're, oh, the Hebrew, I guess it's Hebrew, I guess. Hebrew Israelite. You are Israelite and you are Hebrew. from the country of Israel. I guess that's how it go. You are Moor. Moor is another title. To my knowledge, there were Caucasian people called Moors. In fact, I also heard that the Moors are the ones who actually taught the Caucasian people and gave them all this high science and all this knowledge. So they were considered traitors too. I don't know. I don't know how that go. Is Moor a nation, or is it a people? Then we have Muslim. When you think about a Muslim, you think about those Arabs over there. We've never been to Arabia, so I don't know how we became Muslims, how we associated with Muslims, no more than we're Christian. Christian is something that was forced on our ancestors by the racists here in this country. Also, Muslim or Islam is a religion that was forced upon those dark-skinned people on the continent of Africa. Same thing. Are you that, or is this a label that your oppressor forced upon us? Then we have the label, of course, just simply African. You are African. Africa is a continent. It's a continent. What people are you talking about? You can't be an African. You can be from the continent of Africa. What people are you talking about? Are you from Ghana? Are you from Somalia? Are you from the Congo? What people do you belong to? You say you're African. I don't know. Well, how you know you come from Africa? You don't know. How you know you come from Africa? How come you didn't? You can find dark-skinned people all over the world. How you know you came from the African continent? Everybody Africans. The cradle of civilization, the cradle of humanity, they say, is Africa. So technically, every human being on earth is an African. The whole thing is confusing. Y'all all messed up. You can't. Hey, what's up there, Don? The whole conversation is mind-boggling. I see why you're confused. So everybody is separated into their groups. I'm an African American. America is a continent. What are we as a people? What is the identity? That's what we need to find out. People keep telling me, I hate myself. I suffer from self-hatred. What self? It's a whole lot of self that y'all talking about. Am I African? Am I Aboriginal? Am I Hebrew or Moor? Am I Muslim? And I mean, what the hell are we? Am I black? Is it a race? What? Woo! The whole thing is confusion. You suffer from identity crisis. A severe identity crisis. Let's see if we can straighten some of this up so we can come to some real type of conclusion. I want us to remember and correct me in the chat room. Correct me if I'm off base, because I don't know everything. I could be wrong. I have no problem with that. I don't have no problem with correction. I don't know it all. So help me with this. Now, there's a word, or there's an adjective that I want us to stay in mind as we go through this here. And that is mulatto. Do you know what a mulatto is? There are a lot of people, so-called black people, they judge biracial folks. You're not black. Hell, we don't even know what black is. What is black? What is it? Is it a race or is it a people? What is black? But we're going to, just for this conversation, because biracial or mulatto, it can be a people that's mixed, period. Don't necessarily have to be a Caucasian and a so-called black person. It could be a Caucasian person and a Chinese. That's a mulatto. That's biracial. So biracial, when we talk about biracial, in order to be biracial, that means what we're looking at, you have to have somebody that's claiming to be pure, whatever they are, and somebody and somebody who is pure of the other race. Then they create a biracial, somebody of mixed race, biracial. It's a mixture of two different races, says my brother Don. Cool. So we're right here so far. Let's try to do this. I don't know how this is going to turn out. I'm going to try to make write this down on paper to give us a mental image of what I want to try to say here. So remember now, mulatto, Brother Don says that a mulatto is a mixture of two different races. Now, just for the sake of argument, the so-called black people in America, it makes no difference whether you think that we are natives or aboriginal, makes no difference whether or not you believe that we're Africans. It does not make any difference, because whether we are aboriginal or whether we are Africans, you're still going to have the same problem. And this is our problem. Let's see if I can do this here. Got a piece of paper here. Let me see if I can draw something. Okay. Okay, we have, let me see, okay. See if you can see that. Okay, I have some X's. The X's represent people. And then you have XA, XB, XC, D, E. Okay, those X's represent people. Whether those people are native to America, called Aboriginal, or they are native to the continent of Africa. It makes no difference. But one thing that they just ignore, all the people right here in America, all the people in Africa are not the same. They are not the same. You can even tell when you look at these people. Do a Google search. The people in Ethiopia don't look like the people in Somalia. The people in the Congo don't look like the ones in Nigeria, and so forth. They're not the same. When we talk about the Aboriginal people, they are not the same. I was told that there were over 600 different tribes, different kinds of Aboriginal people, dark-skinned people in this country. Over 600. Over 600. And when you talk about the continent of Africa, look at all those different kinds of people. So I give us a diagram. I give us a diagram to show that these people are different. Even though they might be the same species, the same type of human beings, but they still different. So you have XA, XB, XC, D, and E. They are all X's here. They are all X's. But they're different. They're different because this one is an A, this one is XB, C, D, and E. But they're different. You got it? Now, so, even according to y'all's story, and the Caucasian people went to Africa and they kidnapped these Africans. When they did that, they were not all XA. They were not all XB. They were not all, they was a variety. They didn't care who they got. A little bit of C, B, A, D, it don't make any difference. And they brought them to America. Now remember, now these people, whether they are A, B, C, D, or E, all of them are pure. All of them are pure. They are pure XA, pure XB, CD. They are all pure until they come to America. Until they come to America. Now your problems start. This is the problem. Now your problem has started. Because now, because of slavery, the XA is forced to mix with the XB, the XC forced to mix with XA, XE forced to mix with the A, the D forced to mix with the B, and so forth. Now, they are still X though, but now you are getting, this is the first, this is the beginning of the people being mixed, but they still maintain X. They still maintain X because they are still the same type of people. But they're still not, but they are not pure what they was. They are not a pure A, they're not a pure B, a C, or D, or E. They're not that anymore. They have begun to mix with them, interbreed into one another. So the children of these people, they are not XA, B, C, D, or E. They are the alphabet. See what I'm saying? This is the beginning of your mixing. You're being mixed here. So the children are not pure because the children are alphabet, but they come from XA, XB, C, D, but they're none of them. The children are not them because the children are mixed with other dark-skinned people. In order to claim what these people claim, you have to remain pure. Let me check my Facebook and highlight my Facebook real quick. What's up, Facebook? Long time no see. Glad to see y'all out there in Facebook land. Okay. So when these people talk about we Africans or Aboriginal, they are skipping some, they're skipping some stuff here. These people, we're talking about our situation. This is the beginning of our situation. Whether you are Aboriginal or African, the descendants of these people, when they are forced to mix with one another, the descendants, the children, are alphabets, while the parents was a specific letter. Now, here we go. Now we add an O. This O is the white man. And this white man, or these Caucasian racist pink people, they rape the children. They rape the fathers, the parents, and the children. This O rapes the XA, B, C, D, and E, which produces an XA0, the first mulatto children. Now, as long as the X's stay together, they could say, you could make an attempt to say we sort of pure, even though that's an A, B, C, or D, or E. But now somebody outside of your family rapes you, and they bring in another form of DNA into your family, which produces the mulatto, the biracial. The XA is now an XA0 or O, XBO, XCO, and so forth. These are the mulatto children. And even the children of the X's are mixed. So the children now, then the O also rapes the children that's alphabet. So they are alphabet, and then you add the O. So now you have so as time passes on, the first step is you get the biracial. The first step is you get the mulatto. So we're going to go back to what Brother Don said. And Brother Don said that a mulatto is simply a mixture of two different races. So you have the Caucasian mixing with the African or the Aboriginal. It makes no difference whether our ancestors was Aboriginal or African, because you're going to get the same result. Now, so the first step was the mulatto. In the beginning, that's what we got. We got the mulatto or the biracial. That's what you got, because the Caucasian or the races raped these people and mixed his DNA, his blood, which create the mulatto. And of course, the mulatto is a word that came from the races, because they didn't want to have nothing to do with the children they got due to rape. That's not mine. That's not mine. If you have, what's that, 1%, whatever, 2% of black blood or whatever, you are whatever. You black. So what is black? What is black? See, this is what we want to answer. What is black? If you notice, now look, if you notice, or we're using the story of Roots. They call Kunta Kinte an African. There was no doubt. Kunta Kinte came from the continent of Africa, okay? There was no doubt about that. But they did not call the slaves Africans. Thank you, Don, the one drop rule. They did not say, here is your African brother. Why they didn't do that? They called the slaves Negro or colored or nigger. Why is that? I'm going to tell you why is that. And they also called them black. They did not call them Africans. They called Kunta Kinte an African. They did not call those slaves that was already there Africans. Did not do that. I'm going to tell you the reason why they didn't do that. Because they know something that you don't know. There's something else that we just ignore. Don't you know that the native people here was not the red man? What it was, they called them the red man. They was dark skinned, but they had a red tint, a copper tint to their skin. But they were dark skinned people. I saw pictures of the descriptions of the early crackers that came here, and they was dark skinned people. Very dark skinned people. If you look at me, I'm a dark skinned person, but actually I'm dark brown. I'm not black. When you look at a lot of those people on the continent of Africa, they are so dark, they have a blue coloration to their skin. Very few of us in this country is like that. We look more dark, real dark brown. And they called the native people that was already here, right. They described them as copper color with black straight hair. Right. They also called these people, they called them Negro. You didn't know that, did you? They sure did. They called them Negro. Who else is called Negro? The so-called black people of America. We was called Negro for a long, long time. But before we even came into existence, these original natives that lived here, these Peckerwoods called them Negro. Look it up. Do your research. Get the information. Many of you already know that, but you just skip and ignore that. We came from Africa on a ship, on a boat. Like I said, it really don't make no difference because when it's all said and done, you're not them. You are, just right now, you're starting to see that you're not them. How are you them? The first children that was produced, I'm using this simple example. And then as a result of rape, as a result of being kidnapped, there's a lot of mixing going on. And the result at first is biracial or mulatto. So on the plantation, you saw a lot of this. You saw a lot of XA, XB, XCD, and the children that they produced, which was the alphabet children. That's what you saw in the beginning. And then you also had, because of rape, you also had mulattoes. So you had XA, B, C's, and D's. You had their children, the alphabet children, and you had biracials. You had mulattoes. Now this is something that we just ignore. As time goes on, woo! See, this is the key, and they just ignore it, but you cannot. This is the key. As time goes on, the XA, the XB, the XC, D, E, all that, these are the original parents. As time goes on, all of these begin to disappear. These no longer exist. And the only thing that you have left is the alphabet children and the biracials. The only thing you have left is the alphabet children and the biracials. And the alphabet children began to mix with the biracials. A biracial person can look like XA, XB, XC, XDE, or the Caucasian person. The biracials can. And the alphabet children mix with the biracials on the plantations all over the country. So as the generations begin to pass by, all this begins to intertwine. And the result is you don't have an XA, BC, you don't have a Caucasian, you don't even have a biracial. What do you have? You have a brand new product. You have a brand new human being. And the owner of the human being, the one who created the human being, named the new product, and they called that product black people. Called that new product Negro. Called the new product colored people. These new children, these descendants, have never known freedom. They've never known Africa. They do not know nothing about being an Aboriginal. Remember also, they was denied religion. They was denied reading and writing. They don't know nothing. They was produced to be slaves. That's all they knew. And out of all this came black people. Prior to this, black people did not exist nowhere. When you talk about Africa, you talked about the Congo, Somalia, whatever countries on that continent. That's who you refer to those people. They were not referred to as black people. They even called them Africans. They did not call them black. Black people did not exist until the white man, the racists, created us. I know you don't like it. I just proved it. And to make it even worse, they had breeding farms. And these people, the mothers, was made to have sex with their sons. Fathers was made to have sex with their daughters and all this. Not only you have no idea about your ancestry because of what happened to us, but really you don't even know who your biological relatives are. Because we were treated just like dogs and cats and pigs and chickens. Move from farm to farm. You could go from your plantation to another plantation. You will never see your biological father, mother, and brothers and sisters again. So what would happen is you would adopt a new mother on a plantation and call her mother, but she's not your biological mother. This continues even to this day. There are many of you who claim uncles and mothers and fathers. You know they're not biological. They're not your biological father or mother or uncle or nothing like that. We still do that to this day. You and I are a brand new people in humanity. There's nothing wrong with that. We are a hybrid. We are a biracial people. I just shown you how simple it is. There are many of you who go out and get these DNA tests. And even your DNA tests tell you, you are not pure nothing. The only way you can claim to be XA, XB, C or D, or just an X or whatever, is that you have to show that you're not mixed up with nothing. And you can't do that. The only thing black people have known, the majority of us, we did not come from no Africa. We was born here. We was created right here in the United States of America. You have no feeling except the feeling that you make up in your mind about being an Aboriginal or an African. You are not Aboriginal. You're not a native. You are a creation of chattel slavery. That's the reality. How can you ignore all of this that happened? That's why you have none of the culture. You speak none of the language. You don't know nothing about it. Not because you wasn't taught. You never was connected to it at all. Period. Whatsoever. You don't know nothing about it. What are you? You are a slave. And you copy your massa. You are a dark European. Or a Negropean, some of y'all say. That's what we are. We black, we colored, we Negro. A new product created by racists in this country. And you can get angry at me all that you want to. You cannot ignore this. And even when you tell the story, you telling, this is what you're saying. You're saying the same thing, but you act like you're pure. You act like that did not happen. You're a part of this. I'm an African. No, you're not. You're not an African. You're not an Aboriginal. You know nothing about it. We was created the same way the German Shepherd, the Chihuahua, all these dogs was bred and made by human beings. And remember, these dark-skinned people, once they come into slavery, they was property, they was animals, and treated the same way. Some cows was bred for meat, some cows is bred for milk. These people, our ancestors, was bred to be slaves, the world's most perfect slave, and that's why you can't break the grip. That's why you can't break the grip. Because the essence of us, the only thing we ever known was slavery. Black power, being a Hebrew Israelite, being Kemetic, it's not going to change that. You still act like a slave. And anybody on the outside looking in can tell something is wrong with you. So this is why I say, why don't we just become who and what we are? You can embrace the things that we think is good for us from our ancestors because we know we're not Europeans. Now, we know we're not Europeans because of rape, and as time goes on, voluntarily we sleep with them. We sleep and breathe with them right now to this day, voluntarily, but we know that it was involuntary in the beginning. But we know that many of us carry the crack of blood. And it's true, some of y'all, it is true. Some of us are more pure than others. But we still come from this, we still went through the same system. We still went through the same mess. We still live in the same system. So it don't make no difference how pure you think that you are, but you're not pure to the point where you can say, I'm an African. You're not. You have nothing to do with that continent. I'm an Aboriginal. You're not. You're not connected to nobody. You don't belong to them. You are their descendants produced because of slavery. How can you argue? How can you debate? This is what happened. I didn't make this up. This is what happened. You say it yourself. You're not that. There's nothing wrong with being who we are. Just like a grapefruit. A grapefruit is a mix between an orange and a lemon. Sometimes if you go to the store, you have to be careful because you might pick up a grapefruit because sometimes a grapefruit will look like an orange. Sometimes it will look like a lemon because that's in its DNA. The so-called Negro in America, because of what happened to us, that's why we don't have no specific look. We don't have no specific color. We can be from the lightest of the light to the darkest of the dark. We can have a big nose, big lips, thin nose, thin lips, kinky hair, almost straight hair. We can look like almost anybody because of what happened to us, because of the process that created the so-called Negro. This is why we have no specific look. Other people have a specific look. You cannot get a female black person. You cannot get a male black person, and they represent what we look like as a people. It'll never work. Look at your family. Look, in my family. In my family, there's a part of my family so light, they call them white people. Then we have people that's very, very dark. Then, of course, we have people in the middle. So who can represent my family? Because over on this side, they're very, very light. On that side, they're very, very dark. On one side, they have thin noses, thin lips. On the other side, they got sort of straight hair. On another side, they got kinky hair. Who can represent my family? I cannot represent my family because there are people that look much, much different than me. So, because we are a biracial people, or the rainbow people, or in this case, the alphabet people, because that's what we are, this is why we can look like almost anybody, because we have all this in our DNA, just like the grapefruit can look like an orange or a lemon. But y'all act like there's something wrong with that. To me, it's great. It's a beautiful thing. You know why? Because you can start from scratch. You can develop your own culture, develop your own language, do your own thing. You don't have to copy nobody. Start off brand new. You don't have to be like them, because these people, clearly they all messed up all over the world. I don't care if they're Africans or they're Caucasians or Chinese. Look at these people all over the world. They all messed up. You have an opportunity to start from scratch and do things better by learning from all their mistakes and become, at one time, you was the perfect slave. You put yourself in a position, now you can become the perfect, well, there's no such thing as perfection, but we can become like the perfect human beings. There's no blood on our hands. Nobody on the planet can tell you that you murdered so-and-so and you did this and that and that. The only blood on our hands is because we followed the directions of the Peckerwood. We went into his military and we was fighting in the name of him. We didn't have nothing. Most black people don't like war. They don't like violence. They're not into that. That's just who we are. That's right, Brother Don. The black man and woman in America, we are a unique people. We are the rainbow people. That's probably why people hate us, because we really represent and can look like all of humanity. Some of us even have Asian-looking features. What's wrong with that? People love grapefruit. People love grapefruit. So what's wrong with just being who we are? You and I, we can't help what we are. We did not have nothing to do with this. You didn't have nothing to do with this. Why do you feel shame? Why do you feel shame? We didn't have nothing to do with that. We are who we are. I love grapefruit. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with seeking and being who you are. I don't want to be a black people because I'm free. I'm breaking all ties with my massa. So our people call themselves soul brothers and sisters. That's a beginning. That's a place where you can start. Instead of trying to copy and be like other people, why don't you accept yourself, be who you are, and those people want to be like you. They doing it all the time anyway. They want to copy how you sing, how you dance. They copy our swag, our language, how we talk, how we walk. They already doing it anyway. You don't see how special that you are, that we are. We came from a place of death, but we are that of life. That's why they say those black people got soul. Those black people, we can take a bad situation and still have fun. Our people was out in the cotton fields singing, Lord, and just picking that cotton, and Lord, even right now, we do a lot of our jobs. A lot of brothers and sisters, they be singing to themselves. They hate their job, but they find a way to make it lively. I'm suffering, but I'm gonna make the best of a bad situation and clap and sing, and then you bring in religion. Yeah, Lord, and you know how it is in the church. It gets good. Lord, I love you, Jesus. Lord, and even people that don't believe in God, when you're in church, your hands start clapping and foot get to stomping, you know, because that's just life. We come from a bad place. But something coming out of death gave us a whole lot of life. And you want to be like these other people when you are unique in yourself. That's what makes Black people in America unique. That's what Brother Don said. So there's nothing wrong with being a biracial. So Black is a biracial race. So when you say that a biracial, a person, they ain't Black, so-and-so ain't Black, that's what Black folks are. We are biracial. And when all of this was going on, we did not care about biracials. Now, mind you, I know some of you are going to say, mulattoes do this and mulattoes do that. Well, unfortunately, people are going to do what they do in order to survive. If my light skin gives me an advantage, I'm going to use it. Just like your dark skin. If your dark skin can give you an advantage, you're going to take advantage of it. Like, say for instance, if there's a movie role and somebody actually has to be dark skinned, you're going to get it. The light skinned person said, what if I go out and take a tan? No, we want somebody real. We want somebody with real dark skin. So see, you take advantage and get the movie role. You taking advantage of what you got. Unfortunately, in this country, people trying to survive or whatever, they are going to, and they will, yeah, I mean, that's what people do. So a biracial person or a light-skinned person, they're going to take advantage of their light skin. And a lot of times, not even their fault. You know that. It's not even their fault. You live in a system of racism and pink or white supremacy. You know how that go. Why you keep getting angry and mad at somebody? People trying to survive. It's true. It's true that biracials would do this and that, and they can be used against darker skinned persons. We know this. But at the same time, remember, there was a time when the first biracial people and the alphabet children, they did not care. They was all in the same situation, and Massa really didn't give a damn about all of them was niggas or mulatto. There was a word though for the mulatto. I forgot what it was. What's the word? There was a word that they used for the mulatto during slavery. Because I know for the other ones, they would say nigger, but for mulatto, they would say something else. But they was all treated the same. And our people during that time, even though they knew that you was Massa's child, you was embraced. We are the ones who have gotten to the point where we've taken on the same mindset as our oppressor. We think like them. So now we're using the one drop rule too. You ain't Black enough. So-and-so can't be Black. You got a white mama. You got a white daddy. So what? Black people, that's what we are. We all mixed up. We the rainbow. We the Black folks. Black people. Created to be slaves. You have no specific look. And see, this is the sad thing. Y'all, this hatred that we have. Since biracial people can look just like me. You don't know how you know I'm not a biracial. You don't know, oh no, not as Black as you are. I've seen mulatto or biracial people look just as dark as I am. I've seen it. I've seen biracial people look just like Caucasian people. You wouldn't know unless they tell you. But then when you find out, now you treat them as a soul brother and sister until you find out your daddy white, your mama white, then all of a sudden, oh, you ain't black. You have the same kind of spirit, you have the same kind of sick mentality, just like the racists. You don't care nothing about humanity. You tripping off race. That's what caused the problem to begin with. This racism. This was caused the problem to begin with, and you want to continue our ever-loving relationship with racism, except you want to be the one in charge. You should be ashamed of yourself. That's right, Brother Don. And we know this too. You can have two darker than dark skinned people, and they can produce a real light skinned child. And I guess you'll call that child a biracial. That's how we do anyway. We do that anyway. Especially when we black, we can do that easy anyway. And I also will say, when it comes to Aboriginal and African, I also say, when you look at us as a people, now I could be wrong, but we as a black people, we really not that dark skinned. We are more brown looking than real dark black anyway. And that's because chances are the original people was already here, the copper colored, the lighter, the red dark-skinned people. They were the ones. They were the original ones. Now, later on, there's no doubt that a certain amount of African people or whatever, they did. We breeded with them. But they did not kick the whole thing off. I guarantee you, our original ancestors was dark-skinned people right here already. That's why we're not real dark. We call black people, but we're not really dark. Like I said, if I went into the sun, I would not get jet black. We're not jet black. That's right, Brother Don. We're not jet black people. We're not jet black. If we were jet black, even because of all of this, we would be able to maintain a lot of our darkness. But if we started off with a lesser color, that's the reason why we are what we are. We're not jet black. So black, we blue in the face. Now my uncle, I had an uncle, he was like that. Matter of fact, they called him Blue. And he was so dark skinned, his skin looked blue in the face. That's why they called him Blue. But when I look at us as a people, we're really not that dark skinned. We call black people, but we're not. Also, that brings up the issue when they talk about the black man is God. The black man is God, and we've been here for millions of years. No, black people did not exist until the white man created them. So I don't know what black man y'all talking about. What black people you talking about? Because we didn't exist, and we did not come from them. And those people, the original dark-skinned people, had to be jet black. They had to be. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. They had to be the darkest as a human being could get. I seen some pictures of some people. They were so dark-skinned, even the whites of their eyes was almost turning dark. That's how dark they was. So the original man is not the black man. I don't know what you're going to call him, but he's not the black man because the black man was not created until chattel slavery. how can you ignore? You cannot ignore this. So when you hear these people talk, they just skip over things. Just like in religion, they just skip over certain things. We're not here to skip. We want to seek the real truth. We want to know what is accurate. There's nothing wrong with being the descendant of a slave. So what? There's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with being who you are. Apparently, we really don't even know our own history. Because if you look at the history of the black man in America, even coming from slavery, our ancestors were some bad mama jammas. A lot of the things that we use every day is because of some black person. I don't know what you use every day that y'all got from an Egyptian or a Hebrew Israelite or even from an African. There are things right here in America that we use every day. Look it up, do your research, get the information. You know, why don't you talk to your scholars and they will tell you all the amazing things, all the amazing accomplishments that our people have done in this country, even while they were slaves, We are some bad mama jammas. I don't know why you don't want to be who we are. I'm happy to be a soul brother. Like I said, I'm not using that word black because I'm free. I'm not a Negro. I'm not colored. I'm not African. I'm black. I'm free. I can be what I want to be. My people say they are soul brothers and sisters. So I will start with that and work my way up. And B, that's the self I want to be. I don't know about you. That's the self I want to be. So you can't tell me nothing. See, when you copy people and you want to be an African, you want to be an Egyptian, then those people, those people dictate whether you are doing that right or wrong. I don't want what you got. I'm going to be me. You can't tell me how to be myself. I run this house. It don't make any difference whether my ancestors was Aboriginal or African. I am me. That's over and done with. Y'all trying to go back to a place that you never existed. You never existed there. You have nothing to do with them. Has nothing to do with you. We was created to be slaves. We will be referred to as feral animals. Feral animals are those animals that are domesticated, and then people release them into the wild, and then they domesticate it, but they begin to return to like a wild natural state. That's what we are. We are feral. We was raised up to be slaves. They let us loose, and now we are trying to return to the wild, so to speak. And there's nothing wrong with that. I don't mind starting from a fresh plate. I don't mind starting from something new because I dictate what's happening. Nobody else don't tell me what to do. I can create my own religion. If I want a God, I can create my own God. I can do my own thing. I don't need nobody to tell me nothing. Y'all want to be copycats? Y'all want somebody's leftovers? If that's what you want to do, so be it. That's not what I represent. I represent the new. I represent what the Bible talks about. It says that God comes to bring a new heaven and a new earth, and the former things shall pass away. The former things, all this, everything, that passes away. This is a brand new ball game. We starting from scratch. There's nothing wrong with that. You want to be somebody, wear all these costumes and pretend to be somebody you never was, so be it. That's your business. But when you come around me and those who know better, get ready to explain how you going to ignore all this. Show us how you're pure. Show us how you are an Aboriginal and you're African, but you have this in your background. Like Ricky said to Lucy. Lucy, you got a lot of explaining to do. With that said, let us roll on out of here. And I really appreciate it. That's right, D. You're right. Behavioral and health patterns are genetically passed down. That's true. That's true. There's a word for it, but I forgot what that word. I'm gonna have to try to look that up. But it's not in your DNA. It's just the fact that we went through hundreds of years of slavery, and there's certain behaviors. For an example, I will use myself for an example. When I was a child, I always looked down at the ground for some reason. It got on my nerves. Now, for a little while, I did not mind looking at the ground because I would find some change. I would find a dollar bill here, you know, a couple of quarters there. But after a while, it started getting on my nerves. I'm like, why do I keep looking at the ground like this? And then I learned that during slavery for hundreds of years, Black people was not allowed to look at the peckerwood coming down the street. You have to look down at the ground. You have to go to the other side of the street and look down on the ground as you pass the peckerwood. So this behavior went on for hundreds of years. I've never been a physical slave, but here I am as a child in the 1960s, the early 1970s, I'm looking down at the ground. Why am I doing that? That was passed on down to me. That's the only explanation I can come up with because of that. As D says, behavioral and health patterns are genetically passed down. That behavior, there's a lot of behaviors due to hundreds of years of involuntary servitude. We still have that today. We don't want to admit it. I'm free. But you don't act free. And you have no freedom. You were set loose. You have no freedom. You don't control nothing. You make no laws. You make no policy. You still under the control and domination of your massa, just like our ancestors were. The only difference is you play basketball, you get $1 million check, you got an education, you're $1 million slave. You're a Kemetic slave, you're a Hebrew Israelite slave, you're a first apologetically Black slave, a Black Muslim slave. We all slaves. And we will stay slaves until we accept our own and be ourselves. And it's not what Elijah Muhammad taught. We are not no Muslims. As a free man, as a free woman, you determine who you are, what you become, your destiny, and what you want to do in this life. You do that. But you still act like slaves. That's why you have not got the job done. You shame of where you come from. I'm not ashamed. I'm not ashamed. I'm proud of my ancestors right here in the good old USA. I will acknowledge any African or Aboriginal should I learn about them. But I'm very proud of my mother, grandfather, my grandfather's mother, and so forth and so forth. The people, Black America right here. Don Cornelius, Don King, whoever, all those who made it possible for me to be here right now. I could care less. We some bad mama jammas. How can you be ashamed of yourself? You ashamed to be an African. You're damn right. I'm ashamed to be something I don't know nothing about. And I'm not interested. My life is here. For hundreds of years, my life is here. And these people are long gone. They're gone. They didn't teach us nothing. They could not teach us nothing. They're gone. It's over. We are new. We are unique. Be happy. Embrace yourself. Look, give me a hug. Love yourself. Love yourself. Soul power. The people of the sun. Soul power. The rainbow people. Lovers of life. That's who you are. There's no blood on your hands. Start from scratch. Show people, we can show people how to be real human beings. In fact, we look like all of them. From the lightest of the light to the darkest of the dark. All kinds of features, all kinds of beautiful features and things. Talented, smart, intelligent. What you ashamed of? Woo, I don't get it. I don't get it. But that's me. That's me. Hey, how you doing, Kafara? Yeah, this is a good topic. But I want somebody to come and show me how can we just avoid? How you just going to ignore what happened to us? I'm an African. No, you're not. I mean, you can be whatever you want to be, but you're not. If you think it's butter, but it's not, it's chiffon. You're not butter. You're chiffon. Oh man. Woo. With that said, I'm Audie 5000. Thank you for listening. Thanks for taking a little bit out of your Memorial Day, you know, to spend a little time with your brother. And I just want somebody, I mean, I have yet to see somebody explain. I mean, how can you just ignore what happened to us? You're not an Aboriginal. You're not an African. Sorry. And there's nothing wrong with that. So, on that note, thank you, Kafara, D, Don. Who is in the chat room? Can't see my chat room. Where is it? Oh, okay. Don and even Aquan, Andre, Minister. Oh, Marquis, you was here first. Thank y'all, everybody in the chat room. Thank you for those who've been listening, those who will listen later on. If I'm incorrect, please show the error of my ways. Please show me the error of my ways. I have no problem with saying it. Good point. Because the only thing on my mind is I just want to get to the heart of the matter and to the truth as much as possible. All of us should want that. It's much easier to deal with the truth than dealing with fiction, fantasy, and outright lies. As Don Cornelius always used to tell us, as important, until next time, I wish us love, peace, and soul. Till next time, y'all. Audie 5000.